So ladies and gentlemen, business leaders and friends who are gathered here today, it's a great pleasure to greet the UN Global Compact local networks and their participants in Georgia, Ukraine, Poland, Turkey, and Belarus at this special event on making global goals local business. The topic of this session, securing a green and inclusive future, could hardly be more important to the region or to the world at this moment in time. Because as we prepare for the COP26 climate conference in November, we cannot afford to hit pause on climate action. And it is important to ensure that all countries keep working to update their national contributions to the Paris Agreement, as well as their long-term climate strategies. Events like this one that are convened with many stakeholders are critical for generating the ambition and the action that we need to tackle the climate crisis. And indeed, we are seeing signs of progress. In February, for example, the Ukrainian government announced its cooperation with the European Commission to align Ukraine with the European Green Deal, which aims to make the continent climate neutral in the next 30 years. Key priorities for this cooperation include climate governance architecture, energy efficiency, hydrogen production, and a just transition to a green economy. The UN Global Compact encourages such high-level cooperation across Eastern Europe. It has great potential to catalyze what we call ambition loops. These are positive feedback loops in which bold government policies and private sector leadership reinforce each other to support ambitious climate action. But of course, before any government in the region aligns with the European Green Deal, it must understand the expected impact of the transition to a green economy. And that requires consultations and active engagement with business leaders from a variety of sectors, primarily sectors such as agriculture, transport, energy, steel, chemicals, and manufacturing. This process is underway in Georgia, where the EU-Georgia Association Agreement underscores signatories' responsibility to cooperate on the transition to a green economy. And in keeping with that transition, Georgia's new draft strategy on small and medium-sized enterprises gives priority to sustainable development and the circular economy. At the Global Compact, we welcome these policy shifts. Allow me to reflect on our new strategic plan for the next 3 years that gives particular attention to the needs of small and medium enterprises and also focuses on the goals of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the Paris Climate Agreement. The North Star for climate action by businesses of all sizes is net zero growth in carbon emissions. But to get there, we must all reach a state in which human activity and business activity no longer causes the massive accumulation of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. In the context of Turkey, Poland, and Belarus, the European Green Deal will likely accelerate a green transition by both industry and government. Thanks to highly integrated bilateral relationships and value chains, many businesses in these countries are already aligning their strategies with climate-sensitive norms and standards. And as a result, sustainable energy planning is in progress, and investments in renewable energy are growing. Science-based decarbonization is at the core of these effective net zero strategies. And through deep and profound emission cuts across all sectors of the economy, such strategies aim to limit global warming to the critical threshold of 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels. Therefore, any credible net zero target should be backed by a plan to reduce emissions in line with science. And we're very excited to see the beginnings of this corporate leadership in Eastern Europe. In fact, statistics tell us that 9 major Eastern European companies have committed to set emission reduction targets through the Science Based Targets Initiative. And so far, 2 have had their targets validated. I've spoken much about climate because for us, we seek to urge every company to join this effort by signing on to the UN Global Compact's Business Ambition for 1.5 Degrees campaign, which is led by the UN Global Compact and the Science Based Targets Initiative. Only through a wider movement can we truly accelerate business action to match ambitious policies and reach net zero by 2050. Meanwhile, as the world begins to recover from the devastation of COVID-19, we have an opening to drive action on adaptation and resilience because we must build back better and greener. At the UN Global Compact, all of our participating companies and organizations have committed to follow 10 universal principles on human rights, labor, the environment, and anti-corruption. And we believe by embracing the 10 principles across operations and value chains, companies will contribute to a more sustainable future. So along with international labor standards and regional climate discussions, these 10 principles serve as a guide for business to recover from the pandemic. Because one thing is clear, at this moment in time, business as usual is not an option. So in Eastern Europe and worldwide, we must work together to build on the progress we have made, set high ambitious targets and more ambition loops in motion for positive changes to come. Ladies and gentlemen, I think making the zero carbon economy a reality will require close collaboration by the private sector, government, the UN, civil society, and other partners. This task presents immense challenges, but also great opportunities for the future, because companies can reinvent themselves, transform their supply chains into engines for sustainable development, create business models in which principles and profit go hand in hand. So at this historic moment for Eastern Europe and for the planet, I urge you all to accelerate your support for the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the Paris Agreement. And the UN Global Compact is here to work with you to unite business for a better world. Thank you very much.